A computer science graduate recently applied to 400 companies. He followed the traditional roadmap. He built a portfolio, completed internships, and kept an active GitHub. He did everything the industry once required of a new developer. He received 0 offers. His story is becoming the new standard. Across the globe, the entry-level roles that historically launched these careers are becoming harder to find. This shift suggests that the gateway into the technology industry is undergoing a structural reset. 5 years ago, the path was predictable. Companies hired juniors to handle the tedious boilerplate code and small bug fixes senior engineers didn't have time for. Millions committed to this path. They took out student loans and joined coding boot camps, relying on the historical promise that a few months of intensive study could lead to a stable starting salary. That promise is being tested. Since 2022, entry-level software engineering job postings in some markets have dropped by 50%. This decline indicates that the industry's requirements for productivity have shifted. Tasks that used to serve as the bottom rung of the career ladder are now being handled by machines that operate at a fraction of the cost of a human salary. Inside a modern development team, senior developers use AI tools to accelerate their work. These tools are specifically designed to automate the exact functions that once used to define a junior developer's daily workload. Software now translates designs into code, performs basic debugging, and writes unit tests. These are the exact tasks engineering managers once used to train new hires. This creates a new economic equation. A $20 monthly tool lets one senior engineer produce the code that previously required 2 additional juniors. With software providing immediate results, companies cannot justify the financial cost and mentorship required to train a human junior. The market is currently rewarding immediate output over the long-term process of developing human talent. Beyond the hiring data, this shift affects how developers actually learn to think. Developing expertise requires productive struggle, the slow process of making mistakes in production and wrestling with code you don't yet understand. Handling unglamorous grunt work provides the essential friction that builds a developer's ability to reason through complex systems. By automating these early tasks, the industry is removing the very experiences that allow a junior to eventually become a senior. Engineering managers are already noting that mid-level developers who rely heavily on AI often struggle with the deep architectural thinking required. Learning to code requires the struggle of the work. You cannot become a master surgeon solely by watching a robot perform the surgery. If companies stop training juniors today, the industry will eventually face a future with significantly fewer senior engineers. This shift creates a high barrier for first-generation college students and career changers who viewed tech as a path to financial stability. It also changes the nature of global competition. Developers in emerging markets who relied on these entry-level roles to prove their skills are now finding that the door is being held shut. Restricting the entry-level market limits the future of the industry to those who already have established networks and safety nets. For those trying to break into the industry now, the strategy has to change. The path is narrower, but it is still there. Successful new developers are learning to use AI as a multiplier. Instead of competing with the software, they are learning how to direct these tools and review their output. There is also a continued demand for specialization in fields like security engineering or embedded systems, areas where a specific domain expertise is still required to oversee machine-generated code. Building in public and targeting companies in regulated industries like finance or healthcare, where mentorship is still a requirement, can